Good afternoon. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive, and we're here in the heart of the village of Larchmont for today's 2 o'clock Westchester coronavirus update. Pretty clearly, we decided to come here to this beautiful village, and you're going to hear a number of different people speak in this update to talk about what it's like to be reopening businesses here in this community and by extension every place else in Westchester County. As we were yesterday at Kensico Dam to see how we're handling the recreational rebirth of the county, today we're going to talk about the economic and the all of the wonderful restaurants reopening here in this area, and the stores and businesses. We're in front of Love Bella here on Larchmont Avenue in Larchmont. You get a chance to meet the owner of that business as well. We're going to have a little discussion about the reopening of Larchmont Village, and then I'll give you the statistical update and a couple of other announcements that we want to make today. So without any further conversation, I'd like to ask the mayor of the village of Larchmont, Lorraine Walsh, to join us here. This village is a dynamic environment, 6,000 people in the village proper, but along with the town of Mamaroneck that wraps around it pretty much, you have a very large central business activity here in this village that serves these communities. People from New Rochelle are routinely here in Mamaroneck as well. So, Mayor Walsh, please tell us a little bit more about the village of Larchmont.
Thank you very much. First, I want to thank County Executive Latimer for coming to Larchmont Village today for his update. When we saw that the Mid-Hudson region was getting very close to the metrics to reopen, we started thinking about how we could help the businesses, both retail and restaurant, get the best bang for their buck out of this, open up and have the capacity they would need in order to bring back employees and start bringing in revenue. And so we planned ahead ways that we could utilize public space in creative ways. I issued some executive orders and opened up the streets, parking lanes, sidewalks, parking lots, and created a new expedited permit process to allow that to happen. The result is what you see before you, which is Alfresco Larchmont. It's been in operation for 8 days as of today, and it's been a great success. I think everyone's doing much better now that we've been able to do this than they would have if we'd just done business as usual. And here's fingers crossed that everyone does really well and that all my businesses stay in business, because Larchmont is a great place, and so much of what makes it special relies on our local business owners and our local businesses. Thanks. I have with me also the Chief of the Larchmont Police Department, Chief Polway, and Chief of the Larchmont Fire Department, Chief Caparelli, and they were instrumental in helping us get all this set up as well. Thanks. Thanks, George.
Next, I'd like to invite County Legislator Catherine Parker to share a few thoughts. She represents the village of Larchmont, town of Mamaroneck, village of Mamaroneck, city of Rye, and then parts of Harrison and New Rochelle. She holds the seat that I once held, but it's a very dynamic environment over these 20-some-odd years since I had this responsibility, and now Catherine is doing a terrific job. She served as majority leader of the county legislature. She's now heading the economic development committee for the board, and most importantly, she has agreed to serve as the co-chair of our reopening committee for Westchester County, which involves business leaders and others in helping us get to the point where we come through this experience and move forward economically. So, Legislator Parker.
Thank you, County Executive. I want to commend Mayor Walsh for doing such an excellent job at reopening Larchmont to be prepared for Phase 2. What I've seen and what I think we all can see is there's vibrancy. The town feels like people have come back and they're happy to be spending their money in businesses, in restaurants, and in shops. I know I'm very much looking forward to going into Love Bella and picking up a few things. And it's good to see this model of success. We do have the reopening task force, and we have subgroups, and one of the subgroups is for chambers of commerce. So I'm hoping that those watching, if you belong, live in a different community, and as you see what's happening here in Larchmont, speak with your Chamber of Commerce, and we're here to help facilitate and make sure that all of our communities in Westchester have this kind of vibrancies, are up and running, and are open for business. Thank you.
Now we're going to have a shout out to our local Chamber of Commerce here in Larchmont. There are many Chamber of Commerces all across Westchester County, and when our administration came into office, we understood that we needed to have a closer working relationship between the local business groups and every one of the communities of Westchester County. We're very fortunate to have Shari Rosen Asher, who is with us here, and she has been our liaison to chambers all across the county, from Peekskill in the north to Pelham in the south, and in between. And those chambers of commerce are active marketing groups. They work very, very hard to bring people to each of those respective areas. They serve as an advocacy community with local government, although in this particular case, the local government and the chamber work hand in glove all the time. But Nancy White is currently the head of the Larchmont Chamber of Commerce. She's a terrific florist, my personal florist. I don't mind putting a plug in. And Ellie Zieminski, who is the owner of Love Bella, as well as a businesswoman here on the strips. We want them both to come up and both share a little bit about the business challenges and the business opportunities that exist.
Hi, thank you, George, and thank you, Sherry. The first thing I want to say is that the county executive's office, county executive's office has been amazing throughout this whole time, keeping us informed about what opportunities there were, what resources there were for all the businesses. It was kind of overwhelming. I was getting maybe 3 emails a day trying to get it out to our membership, but that was really great. I also want to commend Lorraine. Lorraine Walsh, our mayor. She's been amazing. The chamber itself, this was a big challenge for all of us, and everybody was impacted in a different way. Some businesses were allowed to function on a limited basis. Some businesses weren't at all. We tried to make resources available to all the businesses if they weren't e-commerce enabled, to be able to have someone that could do that for them. We created a delivery service, so for those who didn't have a delivery service, people could order and we could get things delivered to local customers. And then, of course, we just tried to be a communication arm for everybody. We've been very fortunate because the people that live here really support the local businesses, and they all wanted to do what they could to buy from the local merchants, even when it was really hard to do so. So thanks, Larchmont.
Hi there, I'm Ellie Zieminski, the owner of Love Bella. The first thing I want to say is I agree with Nancy wholeheartedly. This town and village has done so much to support all of us local stores. We have been closed for 3 months, and during that time I reached out to a lot of customers, and we did home delivery, where we would pick out an assortment of goods for people, bring it to their house, let them try it on in the privacy of their own home, pick up goods. So we've been trying to come up with unique solutions to this situation that we're all faced with that we're not used to. So we opened last Tuesday. We've had a wonderful welcome in the community. People are very eager to get out. We're taking a lot of precautions with cleaning all of the goods in between try-ons. We sanitize everything. We have one-way walking. Everybody has a mask on. We wash our hands constantly. So we're just very excited to be back and very grateful for the support of our Chamber of Commerce, our mayor, and the team here in Larchmont. We really appreciate you guys so much. My apologies. Next weekend is a huge event for Larchmont. It's our annual sidewalk sale. We've decided to welcome retail back with a bang. Traditionally, sidewalk sale has always been on Palmer Avenue, and this year it will continue to be on Palmer Avenue, but we are making a big push to have sidewalk sale present on Larchmont Avenue, Chatsworth Avenue, and Boston Post Road. As a matter of fact, I have a surprise guest at our Larchmont sidewalk sale, Shoes and More from Rye, which has a very big draw. They are going to be here, so I hope we can all welcome and support them, and who knows, maybe they'll agree to open a store in Larchmont.
Thank you very much. This is an example of the dynamism of a community that links the local government, the first responders, members of the business community, to try to help bounce back from the shutdown that occurred through the COVID-19 process. And this is happening all across Westchester County. That's why every day we try to bring you a different community up close and personal. And we want to encourage you to make sure, if you wear masks, if you hand sanitize, if you socially distance, the structure of the society is reopening. There's wonderful places to dine all across this community. here in Larchmont in opening it up. This is an example of how the government has been able to try to open it up from a restaurant standpoint, but we know that the restaurants and then the retail stores serve hand in glove to try to be able to provide that sense of we're resuming the life that we've had. And there are places here now, the real estate offices are opening, and there's always an interest in moving into these communities. As you can see from where I was at the end of last week, I managed to get a haircut over the weekend. And that opened up, and as we head towards phase 3, which will begin next Tuesday, there'll be more opening up. Restaurants will be able to go inside as well as outside. Tanning, waxing facilities, tattoo parlors, all of those will come online during that time. So I want to thank all of our friends from Larchmont. I don't want them to have to stand up behind me for the next 20 minutes or so. Thank you all, and feel free to relax or disappear, whatever is best for you all. But thank you for coming, and thank you for joining us here in downtown Larchmont. I'll give you as much of the update as we have. It's relatively short today, and the news continues to be positive. We're tracking day after day after day the COVID-19 outbreak in Westchester. In late March, early April, we reached a peak, which we've talked about many, many times every day, and we're continuing to show a diminution. We now have 34,385 people that have tested positive for COVID. Yesterday, 17 people tested positive for COVID, and also, over the course of that time, we tested over 3,000 people. So that is a tremendous downward spiral in the extent of the infection. To have 17 people test positive out of 3,000 people tested is a great sign of advanced effort, and that reduces the number of our active cases down below 700, which is very good news. Our hospitalization number now is around 100 people that are being hospitalized for COVID-related illnesses. We did have 2 fatalities last night, 2 people that we lost that were COVID-related illnesses, and over the last prior few days we've had a couple of nights with no fatalities, a night with 1 fatality, so the numbers have dropped dramatically, and that's countywide. That's not just in one community, that's all across the county. So we're encouraged that the dropping of the impact at this stage of the game encourages us to continue to move, slowly but regularly in the reopening of the society, which is what you see here. I will mention briefly that earlier today we were in the town of Mamaroneck for some additional mass distribution to local churches. In that particular case, First Baptist Church in Mamaroneck and the Barry Avenue AME Zion Church both received some free masks, PPEs that were donated by Hanes Brands and also by the Greater New York Automotive Dealers Association, and we had our town supervisor, Nancy Seligson, joining the mayor of Larchmont for that activity and that event. We're trying to provide PPE donations through the local chambers of commerce, another task that Shari Asher has shared along with Bridget Gibbons and the rest of our team, and hopefully we'll be going forward. We announced yesterday that we have 2 dates for drive-in movies at Kensico Dam. The Secret Life of Pets is coming up Friday, July 17th in about a month, and then a month later we'll have another one, Wonder Park, on a Friday night, August 14th at Kensico, and we also expect to have some activities at Playland in the parking lot as well. Rye Neck High School is going to have a graduation in the parking lot of Playland, so we're trying to make the best use of our facilities as we can. I've mentioned that the Croton Gorge Park is open during the week but closed on the weekends. That's located in the town of Cortland. All of our other park facilities remain open with the exception of Glen Island, that's still being used as a testing center for COVID, and also the Westchester County Center, which is being used for backup hospital purposes. I've been mentioning each day that we're in the period prior to a primary where there's early voting, and there are early voting sites that are located all over the county. Early voting today will go until 5 o'clock. Tomorrow, Thursday, it'll be open until 8 o'clock, and then over the next few days until Sunday, early voting at certain set locations around the county. You can go on our website, westchestergov.com, or our Facebook page, Westchester County Government, to see what times there are, and you can find out the locations in your area. Here in Larchmont Village, in Mamaroneck Town, in the city of Rye, the location is Mamaroneck Town Center, 740 West Boston Post Road in Mamaroneck. In Yonkers, the 2 libraries, on the west side, Riverfront Library, on the east side of town, Will Library. Up in the central part of the county in White Plains, you can go to the Board of Elections offices on 25 Quaropus. If you live in the city of White Plains to vote, if you live in the city of Mount Vernon, you can vote at Mount Vernon City Hall for early voting. If you live in Pelham or New Rochelle, you can vote at New Rochelle City Hall in the annex in the back, 90 Beaufort Place. If you're in Mount Pleasant, town of Mount Pleasant, which is Valhalla, Hawthorne, Thornwood, the villages of Pleasantville and Sleepy Hollow, or in North Castle, which includes Armonk, Banksville, North White Plains, you vote at the Mount Pleasant Community Center at 125 Loiseau Drive. Senior Center, as it's known, there's a big pool complex there. All across the county, there are different locations to vote, early voting, and you can do that today, and you can do that through Sunday before the election. We'll be discussing other announcements in the next few days. We'll have other municipal officials come on board, but the macro picture is we still continue to have a reduction in the impact of the virus here in Westchester County. We have seen all of our social justice, racial justice protest rallies and walks have been peaceful. There have been no incidents of looting or vandalism or riots here in Westchester County. We're grateful for that as people express their First Amendment right to assemble. With that, we'll see if we have any questions waiting for us from the media. We have no questions today? Okay, very good. Are there any questions? We're good. Time to have lunch here in downtown Larchmont. That's what I think is next on the agenda. We appreciate you watching. Stay safe. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock, with another one of our COVID conversations, and then we'll be back at 2 o'clock tomorrow to give you the latest update of what's happening. And Governor Cuomo speaking each day. We look for him on any of the policy changes that the state's establishing. In the meantime, have a good day. I'm George Latimer, County Executive. Take care. Route? Not quite.